Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
It's Truck Month. It's our favorite month of the year at Lithia Ford of Boise. Time to pick up savings, pick up power, pick up fun. And the best place to pick up yours? Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Welcome on in. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. Jay Tust is going to join me as soon as I send him the link here. I was wondering where he was and then got the text right before the show that I never sent Jay the link, so I'm doing that right now. I apologize for the delay. And then Jay Tust will join us here momentarily. Knew I forgot something today. Those are those days. It's just kind of how they go. But Jay will be joining us momentarily. This is a live edition Bronco Nation News Live here on a Tuesday. A lot going on. You got the transfer portal. You got NIL taking over. We got the NFL draft to talk about. All kinds of stuff. And going to be a day probably all around college basketball where some surprises happen. You got football, basketball, a lot with the transfer portal to pay attention to. We've already seen some news this morning in the Mountain West. Jay Tust, you were a few seconds tardy because I forgot to send you the link, not because you were late, so apologize for that. But happy Tuesday. How we doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you, bud?
Doing good.
I'm not sure. What's the latest? Are we keeping track of the drama that is buying and selling homes, or are we not doing that today?
Today we're tracking the transfer portal. Hopefully we can track that later. There's actually some sort of delay. I'm not sure if you want to leave and come back in, or maybe it's on my end. But your voice and your picture is not lining up. So why don't you see if you can come back in for a second? It might be me. We'll see. But Jay is going to join us here in just a second. It is a Tusty Tuesday. It's also a Taco Bell Tuesday. Thanks to Taco Bell. Make sure you check out TacoBellWorks.com, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, doing a lot to support the local community here. And obviously, they're hiring, as we've told you about. So TacoBellWorks.com, you can get more information. They'll give you half your wages the day after your shift, and they'll give you free food while you work. How can you beat that? Taco Bell, again, TacoBellWorks.com. They're the sponsor of our Tuesday show here on Taco Bell Tuesdays at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. Yes, we are tracking the transfer portal. We're going to get Jay's thoughts on the NFL draft as well. George Halani going to the Seahawks. I'm eager to talk to Jay and get kind of the lowdown on the running back depth chart there with the Seahawks. And I want to get his thoughts on Mike Prater. Again, love Mike Prater and always not afraid to give his thoughts. He said yesterday that Ashton Genty is a day 3 running back, so I'm excited to get Jay's thoughts on that as well. And we're talking basketball. We're talking football. How are we doing, Jay?
I'm good. I think we're better now. Hopefully.
Perfect. Yeah, looks much better there. We are tracking the transfer portal. We are not tracking the movement of the Reigns household. That is hopefully happening soon here, thanks to our friends at Bousher Real Estate. But Jay, 10 p.m. tonight, Mountain Time, I believe it is. The transfer portal closing, I believe, midnight Eastern. This is football. This is also basketball. And we knew there'd be some late additions. There always are. You're just hoping if you're a Boise State fan, none of them directly impact you. But one that could impact them in a different way, JT Toppin, the freshman of the year in the Mountain West from New Mexico, just entered the portal in the last 20 minutes or so. The first kind of surprise edition of the day. But you're Richard Pitino. You're recruiting a roster. You got Dent coming back. You're feeling good about a lot of the pieces you have. Nelly Jr. Joseph. And you're out there trying to recruit guys. And again, literally 12 hours before the portal closes. And again, we said it yesterday, but this is just to enter the portal. All these guys are in the portal, and then you still have next week, 2 weeks, all summer to bring the guys in. So you don't have to replace a guy like JT Toppin in the next 12 hours, but you thought you had him, thought that was one solid all Mountain West player. And then with 12 hours to go, he says, I'm out of here. The first big defection late in the portal here, but it's just a big surprise, but also maybe not really a surprise, just given this current state of college basketball. And we'll see who's next.
Yeah, it'll be the stories that you'll never hear about are the interesting ones of who got to them. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I strongly believe, and obviously Toppin's a recent case, but just even generally speaking, right? That there isn't just like a sudden change of heart with where you want to play. There's incentives that all of a sudden fall into your lap one way or the other. And that is what entices you or induces you to leave the university that you're currently at for another school. So I strongly believe that you're not just going to be a guy that's considering playing at a school and loving it, and then all of a sudden wake up one morning and say, you know what? I think I want to find another place to play. And so, again, this is such like a complicated topic because it's not about the players making money. I mean, that's fine. It totally is. It's just about how it's done. And
yeah,
it's, in the working world, like, I mean, if the New York Giants all of a sudden woke up tomorrow and said they wanted to, offer Patrick Mahomes $600 million to come play for them, it's not like Patrick Mahomes could just say, okay, I'm going to go play for the Giants,
Yeah.
So it would be nice if it's not about the guys getting paid. It's more just about the overall structure and how it's done.
And I never thought I'd use these words, but sign him to a contract. Like we want to have an NIL deal, and you want to tell a guy, hey, you want a 2-year deal? We're going to give you this much money, Chibuzo Abo, whatever. Like, okay, that's fine. So okay, we've got Chibuzo Abo at Boise State for 2 years. We signed him to a 2-year deal. We've got he might leave, he might stay, but we can't count on him staying. His contract is up after this year. And again, New Mexico has a pretty good NIL program. Jay Tust also.
They do.
It's not like and they're one of the better ones.
In Chibuzo too, because I believe that they wanted him at one. I mean, prior to Boise State, but they were competitive there too.
They did. And I just, if you're going to, I know it's amateurism and now it's NIL and they're trying to keep this line. But I mean, I don't know why you don't, the contract brings in the pay for play thing. And I get it. Like you can't straight have that, but there's no other way around it. And, when you used to sign your NIL or whatever, that was, essentially a 4-year thing, but you could transfer and sit out for a year. I think you just have to find a way to reword it. And again, if coaches only want to, or if players only want to sign a 1-year deal, which is now essentially what it is when you sign with a school, you're there 1 year and then you see if you get a better offer, because now the one-time transfer rule has gone away. As long as you're in good academic standing and your credits transfer, you could literally transfer every year for 4 or 5 years if you wanted to. And we're seeing guys do that. I mean, there was a dude that committed to Kansas, AJ Storr from Wisconsin, I believe, that's literally been counting his high school days like 7 years in a row at a different school. And it's just it's ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And I think the easiest way, I mean, again, you have to, there's you have to figure out how to make it work. But I think some form of a contract, even if it's a 1-year deal, whatever, but if you're able to get the money, lock them in for multiple years, that would at least let some of the coaches do some planning here. Because again, I have no doubt that Richard Pitino is going to go find a serviceable big man in the next month to replace JT Toppin. But you're literally 12 hours from, knowing that that's one starter, all Mountain West player locked in. And now it's like, oh, now we have to go search the center market in the portal, like from nowhere. And again, Boise State, they were not expecting Chibuzo Abo to leave. They were, looking at centers, looking at some other spots, but they, I asked somebody connected to the program like the day after he left about how they're going to replace him. And they said, not sure yet. We haven't even looked at that portion of the transfer portal yet, because they just didn't expect to need a starting 2 guard. So I don't know how you make it work, but I think some sort of a contract to keep this from happening every single year might be the way to go.
I think that, everybody wants to use coaches' contracts as something they point to, like they can leave whenever they want. And to some degree, yeah, they can. There's usually a buyout, though, that the school they're going to probably has to pay, or the coach himself has to pay. So I think that there you go. I think that there should be some form of a buyout. Like if you sign a contract and Kentucky wants to take away, a Boise State basketball player, maybe there's a $200,000 buyout that Kentucky has to front. I mean, like, I know that we're getting back to pay for play and all this stuff like that, but like it is like, quit saying it's not NCAA, like acknowledge it, solve the problem, and let's fix this. And we talk about the fairness to the players. Like, well, I would argue it's pretty unfair to Donovan Dent. Like he thought he had a pretty good team coming back with a pretty good big coming back.
13,
all of a sudden now
13 hours now, man.
And I don't mean to speak for him, by the way, because I don't know anything about Donovan Dent as a person, so I'm not trying to speak for him. But I'm just saying, like, looking at the optics of this, well, dang, man, he just lost one of his best teammates to the portal. So now, like, had he known that was going to happen 2 weeks ago, is he all of a sudden going to approach this differently? So, it would be nice if there was a little more invested into how they want to, monitor and regulate all this. And if there are, programs out there that are breaking rules, like why can't they be held accountable? The NCAA punished Boise State for having guys sleeping on sofas. Like, it's just, I know that it's not the same, but it just seems ridiculous when you compare the two right now.
You had Elijah Saunders, starting player for San Diego State, surprisingly go in the portal yesterday.
Yeah.
I think Lamont Butler was a little bit of a surprise last week, and he ends up at Kentucky. And then you had Abo. I mean, you've had in the last week here several Mountain West teams just getting ravaged at the final days by the portal. And again, I trust that these guys are going to go out and, and these schools are going to be able to find guys to, to want to, come there and pay them money, and they'll find it. But again, we're talking about 4-year guys like a Lamont Butler and some of these other players. And I don't know. We'll wait 13 hours here until it closes, Jay, but it really makes me appreciate Tyson Degenhardt even more.
That's exactly what I was thinking, man. If you're Bronco Nation, dude, like 1,000,000,000%, like really, really appreciate that guy, because I bet you even after, again, not to speak for anybody, but like I bet you even after he said, yeah, I'm coming back, I bet you that wasn't the end of people some way, maybe not contacting Tyson directly, but
dude, finish the statement. Finish that first. Sorry, I got something to say.
Maybe not even contacting Tyson directly, but finding ways to try to influence people that are connected to him with, so it just. Yeah. Well,
we saw John Tanji former Colorado State player, announce that he was committing to New Mexico, and then literally like 2 hours changed his mind or got another better offer from Wisconsin, and then all of a sudden changed it to Wisconsin. I've been told, Jay Tust, that Alvaro Cardenas is still getting hit up by schools. He's already he's already, announced and signed the financial aid agreement, whatever. But until he actually enrolls in classes, he's not technically locked in to Boise State. And
Yep.
I mean, my understanding is he's solid. He wants to play at Boise State, but there are schools.
Yeah.
He's already announced his commitment. The school has announced that he's transferring. And other schools are still picking up the phone and calling him. Hey, are you sure about that? What do you think about coming here? Like, how crazy is that? Like, there used to be this code in basketball, Jay. Football, night before, it's a totally different deal in football. Night before signing day, guys are stealing guys left and right. But there was this code in basketball when a player would commit that coaches would kind of just, okay, good for you. You committed. And there used to not be a lot of like stealing guys and stuff in basketball. It was just kind of this weird code amongst coaches. Like you would once he commits, hey, great get, you got him. But now with the transfer portal and all this, like until Alvaro Cardenas enrolls in classes in the summer, like there's literally another month. Boise State still has to technically, quote unquote, hang on to a guy like Alvaro Cardenas, who, again, I still think Boise State fans, if it had happened differently, Jay, and if Roddy Anderson had left first and then they got Cardenas, it would have been seen as a bigger get. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. We got guys picking one school, 2 hours later changing. We got other schools still reaching out, calling a guy that's committed and announced to a new school. I just don't know how you and I guess the contracts would at least, if an Alvaro Cardenas signs a contract with Boise State, then other schools would potentially back off of him. But I just don't know where this ends and where this. It's just it is absolute chaos right now.
Yeah. Something's got to be done just to find a way that, the players can still financially benefit and things like that, but also, just kind of try to limit this chaos because it is insane. And it's funny because we talk about San Diego State and you look back at their roster and you're like, man, they're going to be good again next year. And then all of a sudden, I mean, like, you want to talk about a program that is in shambles right now. It's crazy how quickly their roster has flipped on its head to being like, you look at it, man, probably going to be the favorites again. And now it's like they couldn't even fill out a starting lineup if they wanted to.
And dude, they're one of the ones that's like literally, and they're not even afraid to admit it. Like one of their articles from Mark Ziegler, they're literally like paying a salary to these players. They're giving like a monthly payment, and they're actually like salary. And if you're a scholarship player, you're getting $2,000, $3,000 a month, whatever it is, in addition to whatever else you can get out there. And yeah, you're talking about New Mexico has a pretty good NIL. Sounds like San Diego State was going to up their NIL and did after the Final Four run, and they're losing starters to the portal. You got players transferring in conference. We talked about Xavier Dussel. He committed to Nevada, I believe, so he's going to be on his third Mountain West school. And you mentioned San Diego State, and I don't know what you think about this, Jay, but I saw somebody yesterday, and again, these are the same 3 or 4 trolls on social media, but they're talking about, Boise State's having tough time in the portal because they're 0-10 in the NCAA tournament. These kids want money and they want playing time. I don't think a lot of these kids even know about teams' history. I mean, does it help? But again, does it help San Diego State? You would think. They were in the championship game 2 years ago, and now they're losing Micah Parrish, who apparently was going after fans on Twitter. They're losing Saunders. Lamont Butler, the dude literally hit the shot to put them in the championship game, and now he's leaving for Kentucky. Like, it's not about winning and losing anymore. It's about money, and it's about playing time, and it's about so many other things that it's just crazy to me. And so I actually thought the opposite. A guy like Cam Martin picked Boise State in part because he wanted to help break the streak and get them to the tournament, get them that first win and be a part of history.
That's why Tyson Degenhart's still here too. I mean, like,
yes.
Again, I hate throwing around player names, but like he also wants to achieve history. Like, the portal era is going to kill Boise State because they can't, it's a major factor. I bet you, and as someone said, they're only 0-5 in their lifetime. Like, you're still seeing them in March Madness. Boise State still has a winning program. I just kind of laughed when I saw that. I sometimes wonder if these people actually like believe the stuff they're tweeting. They probably don't. They just like to get folks like me riled up, and it worked. But I saw that and was like, really? Like, I don't think a dude's not picking Boise State because he saw him lose to Colorado in the NCAA tournament. Like, there's so many more factors, and now you're 100% seeing it. When Lamont Butler wants to leave San Diego State, come on. It's getting out of hand, man. You know what? Mike Sanford, I thought, had a pretty cool tweet today, and it actually applies to it's a football-related tweet, but still, He said a fascinating stat: only 4 of the first 100 picks in this year's NFL draft played just one season at their final NCAA institution as a transfer. To that, he added his opinion that the NFL evaluators have spoken. Portal hopping can be a bit of a red flag. And so I did think that was interesting, because we do talk about how crazy the portal is right now and things like that, but it definitely does seem like there is something to it when it comes to how you evaluate prospects. I guess to understand that a little bit more, maybe we look at the final 157 picks as well, but to have 4 of the top 100 only play one season at their final NCAA institution, I do think that is a little interesting. Like, maybe it would have been a little different if Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. couldn't have exercised, additional COVID year of eligibility.
Sure.
That's interesting.
Well, don't get me started on that one. I thought you got the extra COVID year, you should have had to use it at the school you were at. A lot of those guys all of a sudden were like, oh, I got a COVID year. Sweet. I'm going to use that to get another free year somewhere else. I thought the COVID year should have been used at the school you were at already.
Probably.
But that
was what Hurley said to UConn too. Like, that's how he kind of evaluates it too. If like he's recruiting a kid and he finds out that he's jumping around different high schools and stuff like that, like he viewed that as a potential red flag. So I don't know, man. This is such a complicated issue that we could go back and forth on for hours and hours and never really have like a conclusion that probably even really makes that much sense. But you still want players to benefit from it. Certainly, like 1,000%. That's why we're doing all this. But there just needs to be some type of structure. And they say there's not pay for play out there, but there absolutely 1,000,000,000,000,000,000% is. That's what this is all about, is somebody finding a back channel, an agent or something that says, this is what we're going to offer a guy. And then all of a sudden he enters the portal, and just coincidentally 5 days later, he has an exact landing spot that he wants to go to. Right. So,
don't even get me started on the collectives where I love Joe Nickel. I get it, but getting paid to go to make charity appearances doesn't really sit well with me either. So,
do you really think that? I just, man, and I could be 1,000% wrong here, but do you really think that a guy that hit a game-winning shot that sent a program to a national championship game 2 years ago, all of a sudden just gets in the portal and leaves if he doesn't know something better is on the other side of that thing? And that's not his fault. That's not his fault. What it is it's some procedure that should be viewed as probably illegal in terms of tampering or something like that, is somehow gets to him. And then that's what influences the decision. Like, I just have a hard time believing, like I said, that people like that would just wake up one day and be like, I want to see what else is out there. I don't know.
Yeah. And
good for him.
We've all been in situations though where we have a job and someone else reaches out to us, or we're poking around to see what else is out there for better jobs or whatever else. And so the difference is they just try to play this off as being amateurs or whatever else, but there's really no different. You're at one school, you're curious what you're worth at another school. Like, I get it. Yeah. Just make it the same playing field for everybody when it comes to this. And when you're talking about some of these schools literally having $5, $6, $7 million of NIL money to throw around. And again, I've talked to Joe Nickel about this. I like Joe. I like the idea of the collectives, but some of these guys are literally getting paid to go to hospitals and to do stuff, and just some of the charity element is like, do you really need to get paid for it? If you're making a charitable cause, go volunteer your time at the charitable cause. And that's just a small aside from all of this NIL money. But I always think that part of it's interesting to me when it's like, oh, great, they were at the Boys and Girls Club today. Oh, well, it's also fulfilling their requirement for part of their $500,000 check they're getting. So don't get me started on that side of it. But I just, in general, there's just so many issues and so many problems with this. And I think you need to I've always been against it, Jay, like, the whole paying them and going pro and revenue sharing. And like, that's just been something that's been, but I've just seen it's just gotten to a point where it's just not the same college athletics that we grew up in. And you might as well just do it, make it fair for everybody and just go across the line and just do whatever just make them pros, write contracts, checks, pay them, whatever you got to do. And because it's just, unfortunately, these the Power 5 divide is just going to only get bigger because you have the bigger boosters and the bigger you're able to pay more money for NIL. And it's just, I don't know, man. It just makes you really sour on college athletics when you see all this kind of stuff happen.
You just have to realize it's changing. And there are schools getting left behind. Heck, my alma mater was one of those schools that got left behind. And, there are probably individual players that are making more than, what I would say even what, teams are getting right now. At the G5 level. And that's basically even like I'd consider Oregon State and Washington State at the G5 level right now. They're playing Mountain West schools. So there are players that I think are making more money on an individual basis than, teams are making at this point, which that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, like the only circumstance that you could even relate that to is like the Oakland Athletics right now, who are kind of a joke of a franchise, with everything that's going on. But outside of that, like there are requirements. Like you have to, for the most part, you have a bottom floor and a ceiling when it comes to what you're going to invest in your roster. Certainly in the NFL, there's situations like that. So it's tough.
It certainly is. We're going to spin this locally here in just a second. What's that, Jay?
Oh, no, we kind of got on a rant there, buddy.
We did. We were talking over each other. We were both very passionate about this, but Cutwater Spirits, more than 35 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for the next game day tailgate. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. Those concrete floorings, they'll transform the look of your garage or your back patio or your basement, that concrete slab, in one day. 15-year warranty. Check them out, roepaint.com. Tell them you heard about it on Bronco Nation News. They'll hook you up with a sweet deal. ICCU.com. We're using them for our home mortgage. Brent Cotter, highly recommend him. He's at one of the Nampa branches. You can reach out to me. I'll get you more information on him. Brent's doing a tremendous job with our home loan there at ICCU and giving us the best rate possible and talking me through all the scenarios and options that we have. So Idaho Central Credit Union, all your banking needs. Check them out, ICCU.com. Ridley's Family Markets. They got 14 locations around the state of Idaho, others in the surrounding states. Love that Cuno location down there. And again, also love the app, the Shop Ridley's app. You can save up to 40% off in the checkout line. Make sure you check them out at shopridleys.com. Matt Bauscher, again, I've been telling you, we're working with Matt right now. We're in agreement to purchase a house. We're trying to sell our house, and every step of the way, Matt and Kelly and the whole team have been great to work with, and we're very appreciative of their help. And again, have Matt as a sponsor, but now using him as a client and his company, it's been first class every step of the way. So very thankful. And again, I knew the stats proved it, and now I can see why. Number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, Bauscher Real Estate. Check them out. No home is too big or too small. Tell them that you heard about it on Bronco Nation News. They'll hook you up. 243-8222, BauscherRealEstate.com. And Lithia Ford of Boise, LithiaFordBoise.com. They've added Jonah Dalmas. They now have deals with multiple football players, 4 to be exact. So check them out, LithiaFordBoise.com. And they're sponsoring that hole-in-one at the golf tournament, which, by the way, Jay, we are very nearing a morning sellout for the golf tournament. And again, they're giving away that car. There's Jim Sturk on the screen, Lithia Ford Boise with Coach Rice and some others. LithiaFordBoise.com. View that full inventory vehicle. And again, they're giving away at Bronco Sport if you get a hole-in-one at the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, which, again, we have one foursome left in the morning. We have some left in the afternoon. We have a evening the night before. We're going to get a Q&A with Coach Danielson, some others up on the stage at Stein Distributing, and that is open to folks that are in the tournament. And so it's an exclusive event. You're not going to want to miss it. And again, May 31st out at Timberstone. And we'd love to have you join us. Thanks to rowpaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, our title sponsors on this event. And it's about a month away, almost a month exactly. So looking forward to it. Hope folks will join us. And again, email me, rains@bronconationnews.com, or go to bronconationnews.com/golf if you want more information. But this thing is going to sell out, and it's been great to see the interest already so far. Jay, okay, so, we had Abo, and that was a big surprise a couple days ago or last week. I guess, again, until the 10 o'clock hits, you really can't 100% say it on anybody. We feel pretty good about Degenhart and Stanley. They both came out and said it. For the basketball side, we really haven't heard too much from Ashton Genty, at least in a little while. But to this point, the football team hasn't really had any big time departures. Any concern in the last 11 and a half hours here about Boise State football or basketball in the transfer portal?
I can't say no because I've made that mistake before. It's not over till it's over. I feel pretty good about all those guys you just listed, but until that portal closes, man, like it's just not over. You don't know if there is going to be some absurd offer that comes in that you literally can't say no to which, if that happens as a player, man, good for you. Like, I don't know what else you can say. Like, you're gonna impact a lot of people's lives by making that decision, back in Boise. And I'm not talking about fans, I'm talking about teammates, coaches, and things like that. But you just can't say until it's over, until that portal closes. I'm not saying no. Got to be on guard, man. Which means if you're Boise State coaches, you are actively recruiting your own roster once again today, not just, trying to talent evaluate and add to the roster in the future by scouting either the portal or high school kids. Like, this is a constant threat to your team until the portal closes.
And I've seen some different stuff. It closes tonight at 10 p.m., correct?
Well, I don't know if it's East. I don't know if they play Eastern time in,
it's
or
tonight. It's tonight.
It's supposed to be midnight.
Yes.
Think, is it basketball tonight and then football tomorrow? I don't know exactly.
Or maybe it's the other way around, because somebody on your on Twitter is saying, I've asked 8 people about this. I got word from the compliance office of a Mountain West school that's open through Wednesday, May 1st. I was under the impression they both ended tonight, but I guess I need to do some more research on that.
There is like another, like, if you're a grad transfer too, I think you have a little bit of an extension or something like that.
They got rid of that, I think, actually.
Did they?
I think they might have said, no, you got to go at the last time.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody is saying 36 hours left for basketball, so maybe I was wrong on that. I was pretty sure at the end of maybe football's tonight, basketball's tomorrow night. I don't know why they wouldn't both be at the same time.
Football's a 15-day window. So I tweeted it out yesterday. I do think football's tonight, basketball's tomorrow. I can't remember off the top of my head, though.
By the way, CJ Tiller now tweeting out an offer from Utah State.
Yeah. Yep. Saw that. Yep. Yeah. From my understanding, the portal opened on the 15th, 15-day window for football. That means it would shut down today at midnight. And then I believe basketball is tomorrow at midnight.
I'm going to see if I can get confirm that in the last 8 minutes before we're out of here. But again, you never know, Jay. But I mean, are any surprises coming today or tomorrow, you think, or is Boise State in a pretty good spot to hang on to all these guys?
Like I said, I don't want to disappoint. I really feel Boise State's at the spot though where the surprises would be good. I don't feel like we're gonna get any out of left field bad surprises for Boise State. I feel like the surprises would be good. I know that you're monitoring, what's going on, and I just feel like I've heard positive things about potential additions, not necessarily defections.
Yeah. No, I was, and speaking on the basketball front, I know Dylan Anderson, a 7-footer from Arizona. I saw him with my own eyes at the basketball game on Saturday. I took my son to the game, and what did I say?
Basketball game.
Oh, yeah. They could have played.
The softball game was awesome.
They had the coaching staff there. They had the roster there. They could have played a basketball game out there in right field. But I took my son, and they lost that game on Saturday. But I did see Dylan Anderson and pretty much the whole coaching staff and his parents. They were all out there for a little while checking out the softball game and the nice Saturday in Boise. So I think he'd be a huge addition. They had the NAIA kid on. They've had multiple NAIA kids actually visit. They had the Elijah Malone that committed to Colorado. They really wanted him, a big kid, and they got his last visit too, but just couldn't quite seal the deal. And he goes to Colorado. He was won the award for whatever it was for top Division II, Division III JUCO NAIA player, and he was an NAIA Player of the Year from Indiana there. So he goes to Colorado. They had the other player in that went to visit Texas Tech afterwards. So it's tough for fans. I get it. If you get a NAIA or lower level player that has big stats, people just poo-poo that and say, oh, he's NAIA. But if you go get a backup like Chibuzo Abo, who had 1 point at Texas Tech, you're like, oh, he's he averaged 1 point at Texas Tech. He has what's he done? And that's kind of what, unfortunately, I think some that are uninformed might say about Dylan Anderson, because he redshirted, didn't even play at Arizona last year. They had Ballo and some other big guys, but I've read a lot that he was supposed to be in the rotation this year if he had stayed. A lot of Arizona fans actually were not happy to see him enter the portal. And another Arizona player had committed yesterday or the day before to New Mexico, I believe. And I reached out to some folks that cover Arizona, and they said it's not even close. Dylan Anderson's the better player of the two. And he apparently improved a ton during his redshirt year too, Jay. So, I mean, a 7-footer that can shoot the 3 ball. And the best part that we've talked about with him, and I know you brought it up, Jay, is 3 years of eligibility left. So you're going to lose a lot of guys this year. And I guess this time next year, you're hoping you can hang on to Dylan Anderson. Who knows? But, they have 3. You're wanting these guys that can contribute now, but also have multiple years left because they're going to lose a lot after this year.
Yeah, and this is all about connections too, right, BJ? So who's Arizona's head coach?
Tommy Lloyd.
Where did he come from?
Gonzaga.
Who's Leon's best friend?
Mark Few.
Where does he coach?
Gonzaga.
Yeah, so
what was Dylan Anderson's final 2 before he committed to? It was Gonzaga.
Yeah, so I guess my point is that there's definitely some background that's been done behind the scenes. It's not like they're just taking a wing and a prayer here. I mean, there's you know what I mean. So
yep.
I guarantee those conversations have been had at some point in time, and that's also why Boise State's been pretty good out of the transfer portal too. Is they're super connected. Mike Burns is as connected as anybody out there, So
yeah,
we'll see what they can do to cross the finish line here. And just to reiterate, and I think
Creighton and Washington are the other two finalists. Creighton and Washington, but I've also heard, just as we said, this crazy portal world with trainers and dads and coaches and everybody else trying to get their hand in the pot, that they're trying to, that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But if they could close the deal on that one, that would, in my opinion, be a very, very nice pickup.
You kind of, I was actually going to go in a different direction here, but just something you bring that up, and I hope it's something that someone out there is educating the players on this stuff, because let's just use round, it's kind of a round number of 500,000, right, BJ? If you have an agent, for some reason, NIL agents make a really good percentage as compared to any normal like professional agent. Usually those are, single digit percentages, to where NIL agents are somehow getting like 20% at times. So if you get a $500,000 deal, right? 20%.
I've heard this scenario has actually maybe happened with a former Boise State player here.
Well, yeah. I don't even want to associate it to anybody. I just want to just throw out round numbers, right? Because if you do that, 20% of 500,000 is $100,000. So you are left with $400,000 that is going to be heavily taxed, right?
Yep.
And so your deal of going to get $500K all of a sudden turns in. We need to get Dayton Robinson on here.
150, 200 maybe. Yeah.
200, 250, somewhere in that. All of us, it dwindles pretty darn quick. And so now you're like, oh man, so I hope those are the numbers you're evaluating. Is it worth it versus 500,000? Is it worth it? Because there's somebody out there that wants that 100K probably more than you want the 500K, because they're going to get theirs. I mean, look at that on a percentage. Like the take home there is, or the way that's divvied up is the agent almost getting half what the player's getting at the end of the day. I know it says 20%, but like once you tax it and everything like that, like it's kind of crazy.
I can't help but chuckle when I hear the word agent, because you see it all over social media too. It's like Grant Osabor will visit Washington and Kentucky, whatever. His agent tells the Field of 68, and it's like, agent, what? Like, this is, again, are we still trying to claim this is college basketball here, and these NIL agents and stuff? And now we're moving. Now I only fear it's going to get worse, Jay, because we're moving towards a system where they're supposed to now allow the schools to help facilitate some of these NIL deals on behalf of the third party. So you have your Lithia, Florida, Boise, and you can now tell the Dylan Andersons of the world, hey, you're going to get a new truck, and you're going to get this and this from Lithia, Florida, Boise, and it's going to be like, and they've been. By the way, wonderful deal. What's that?
I said a generous deal there, Lithia Ford of Boise.
Yes. And it's happening anyway, but it's not supposed to. Like, the coaches are not supposed to talk NIL with the players. Like, that's the funny part of all this. It's literally supposed to be, well, we can set you up with a meeting with the collective, and we can set you up the meeting with these companies, but you're not supposed to be able to have a Leon Rice tell Dylan Anderson, yeah, we can make sure you get at least $200K. Is that going to get it done? Like, and I'm not even saying that is happening at Boise State, but that's certainly part of the recruiting process, which it is not supposed to be around the country. And so it just puts all these schools in tough spots, and you got coaches. And I truly believe, Jay, a school like Boise State, just given the 11 plus years I've covered this program and knowing the character of these coaches the way I do, like, I truly believe Boise State plays by the rules with a lot of this, and it's hurt them in a lot of cases. And I truly believe, like, they're a school that really does play by the rules here. And I'd be surprised to find out they're the ones, when you're hearing with some of these schools luring guys away and all this kind of stuff. Like, I just don't think that's how they play it. And so maybe that's hurting them in this era, and that they're too nice, whatever. I don't know. But too, respectful, loyal, honest, whatever. I don't know what the word is, but I think schools like Boise State that have always for years done this the right way really get penalized in spots like this and with the new system. And now they're saying that they had some new legislation passed or whatever where the schools can help facilitate the deals. So now it's going to be just 100% legal for the John Calipari's of the world to tell kids, we'll give you $1 million if you come here, and we'll do this. And so now you literally have a budget, and you literally have a roster to fill, and go do it. And again, I guess the fact that it's now at least legal makes it a little better since it's been happening anyway. I don't know. But you're totally right about the agent. I've heard that, and the agents are literally the ones now out marketing and telling schools, hey, man, it's going to take $200K for us to even come visit. You got to get to this level for us to even consider coming to your school. And it's just crazy.
You said it. It is. It's crazy.
Guy says it's already going on. NCAA just wants to put it on paper. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of.
I'm at least a little more comfortable with that. Let's just start monitoring all this stuff. Again, it's if you go on and play in the NFL or the NBA or the MLB or any of those leagues, it's going to be structure that you're going to have to deal with.
I did get confirmation, by the way, from the great Nate Lowry. It closes tonight. So
basketball closes tonight.
I said, when does the basketball portal close? I've heard tonight and tomorrow night. It'll close tonight, is what I was told. Okay. So basketball portal, we'll have to try to figure that out, but apparently basketball portal does close tonight. So
Nate's the man, so we'll go with that.
Yes. Jay, before we let you go, you're a big Seahawks guy, obviously. The Seahawks running back room better than most probably on this chat, certainly better than me. What was your take when George Halani landed with the Seahawks?
I love it, man. I think it's an awesome fit. I like George being in that room just because that guy brings zero baggage with him. He's going to work his ass off. Like, sorry, BJ, but he's going to be just an awesome addition to the Seahawks roster. I am so excited for him, excited for the Seahawks. And that is a low risk, high reward move for Seattle, in my opinion. You look at, again, I know that George has had injuries. You look at the last 30 games he's been on the field, he has almost 3,000 yards from scrimmage. So you find a way to keep him healthy, or, in this case, he's not walking in and being the starting running back, like he'll be asked to make contributions, or likely it might even wind up on the scout team initially. Right. So there's going to be ways that they can monitor him and help him through. And so without having to be, a bell cow back here, he can kind of figure out how to get, to maintain his health. And I really like the move, mostly because I really like George, man. I felt like he kind of treated this last year like he was a professional, intentional or not. He's very deliberate about the way he goes about things. He's one of those guys that you hear is just an unbelievably good teammate. And, you hear Ashton Genty talk about him, and it's funny, man. He was an open book for Ashton Genty in terms of helping Ashton get up to speed and develop. And in the competitive world of collegiate athletics or athletics in general, I just think it's really unique for somebody to say, how can I help you get better, knowing that guy, if he gets better, is going to eat into your carries, eat into your playing time. But that's the type of teammate George Halani was, because he just wanted to bring out the best in everybody. So I like that move for sure.
What about Cade Beresford? He's going to get two opportunities, obviously the Saints and the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Kind kind of an interesting thing there. I know that definitely locked in and going to go try to work out for the Saints. And, I think with the way that he's approaching it, it's different than George. George, is getting a contract. Cade right now is getting rookie minicamp invites. And so as long as he wants to continue to line them up and try to make an impression and stick somewhere, then he can do multiple ones if he so chooses to do multiple ones. Right. So, we'll wait that out and see, but hopefully Cade, he's a great kid, Northwest kid. That's why I was excited initially about the Seahawks, but hopefully he goes and proves something to the Saints and just sticks.
Josh was tired of the basketball talk. Did we really talk much?
Did
we talk much? We talked portal, but I don't think we really talked much basketball.
Yeah, but it was all implied basketball. Sorry, Josh.
Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow. John Mallory will be
softball talk.
We actually played. We did that yesterday with Mike Prater. I know he loved talking softball with me. We played a bite from Justin Schultz, and they are in the Mountain West tournament, which will be next weekend. And I think next week, maybe next Tuesday, Jay will try to get Coach Schultz on to preview the conference tournament. By
Sophia Knight was absolutely insane. Like,
yes,
there's like Robin home runs, BJ, and then there's Robin home runs. Like, she went over the fence, full extension, and brought that thing back, and took a 3-run bomb off the board from New Mexico. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you got there just in time. You were there and had the footage. I saw your great package on KTVB, and I was out in right field, not filming at the time, but did have a very upset 9-year-old kid named Naismith, because if you watch the video, he is tracking the ball about as good as you can track it from the right field grass, and he is in position to either catch the ball or grab it off the ground, and he thought he was about to have a souvenir, and then Sophia Knight said, "No, sorry, Naismith, this one's coming back," and Rob
get him an autograph.
Yes. Yep. I said, he was pretty dejected about it. I said, if you really want a softball, I probably know some people. We can probably get you a softball. It's not the end of the world. But he saw it and he took off, and he was right about, he was going to be there probably in position to either push somebody out of the way and grab it or just straight grab it. And he didn't, but the heck of a catch. And that was not your typical just, I wonder if that would have been out or not. That was well above the wall to rob the hole. I mean, that's one of the better plays of any Boise State athlete of the 2023-2024 year.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. There's got to be a fun marketing way to spin this to where there was also another little girl out there that looked like she was going to make a run for it too, and she kind of, darn. There's got to be a fun way to market that where Sophia Knight's taking souvenirs away from kids. So maybe she can meet them and give them some autographs or something like that. There's got to be a fun idea out there about that.
Yeah, no, it was a fun, nice weather for the weekend. It was fun. I saw actually Johnny came with us on Saturday. We got Johnny out there to miss part of the 7th round of the NFL draft to come watch some softball. We hung out there on Saturday. We saw Bob and Therese out there on Saturday as well, and Tyson was out there, and RJ Keene and a lot of folks on both days, Saturday and Sunday. So it was a fun time out there on the berm and in the outfield grass. And I would suspect the Mountain West is thankful and happy in terms of ticket sales that the home team Boise State qualified for the Mountain West tournament. So we'll have more details on that next week. But hang on, folks. Transfer portal, just hours left. We'll see what we'll monitor it for you. You can follow Jay on social media, myself as well, if anything happens Boise State related. And obviously you can watch all the various newscasts with Jay and Brady this week. And John Mallory will join me 9 a.m. tomorrow. But again, JT Toppin, the latest one. And sorry, Josh. Yes, I am a basketball junkie, and that's boring. So feel free to find another podcast around town that talks Boise State sports on a daily basis. Go watch Jay's Sports Bar, Brian Harshen interview. There you go. I'm sure that was more up your alley there, Josh. That was a great interview, Jay, by the way. Hopefully folks will check that out. Brian Harshen on Jay's Sports Bar. And I liked the very first question. You got a better relationship with Harshen than I do, but I do think that was a little risky first question right out of the gate, asking about his drink of choice. And you got the was it Pendleton Midnight, or you got the answer out of him. And that's something that I'd have been a little nervous to ask with the first question, maybe the last question. But you went right.
Transparency. I do give people a heads up before I ask them that question, just because I want them to choose how they want to ask that question. On the flip side of that, at one point in time, I asked him about one of his favorite play calls. And he took one from the 2014 Fiesta Bowl that's rarely talked about. And I didn't realize it till afterwards when I was editing it, but he recited every single detail about the play, and I was kind of like, I don't remember what I was doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he picked out this play that and it was just like that, man. Like it was just like that off the top of his head.
Yeah, it was a great interview. And as someone else said, Corey Hall on Tommy Alquist podcast was a good one as well. So go check that out as well. Check out Jay's interview with Brian Harston. And tomorrow morning, you can check out John Mallory and I, 9 a.m. as we talk about the portal closing and lots of stuff. Yes, we do, Tequila Gus, have months of airtime to fill before football season. So, yeah, we're going to milk all the transfer portal and basketball talk we can as we get ready for football season. So, Jay, appreciate your time as always. Yep. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. And, folks, appreciate you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. Sign up for the golf tournament before it sells out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's free, and that's what we'd love to help you. Help us get over to 5,000 here in the nearing days. But that'll do it. Bronco Nation News Live. Appreciate all of our sponsors. Taco Bell Tuesday. Our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.